The Kerbylon project was a dream given form. Its mission, to slip the surly bonds of Kerbal, to explore outer space, to reach for the horizon, to seek to strive, to never fall, to not go quietly into that good night. This is the Kerbylon project.
Hello and welcome back to the Kerbylon project. Yes, I want to play some Kerbal Space Program. It has been quite a while since I've done this, and the game has changed quite a bit since then. Firstly, I'm on version 0.23. My hope is that as new versions come out, I will be able to keep the same save game file and progress forwards with it and so on. But obviously, as with any game in development, there's a chance that stuff will get broken. But even if it does, I hope to be able to continue the storyline. You know, like, if necessary, I can try hacking the save game file, get me back to the level where I am, or I'll do work off camera as much as possible, or we'll come up with some in-universe reason why there's been a reset. So, why did I want to start playing this again? Well, the main thing is the recent addition of the beginnings of the career mode means we now have scientific research in the game. There are two main reasons why I stopped playing this game. One was I didn't really have a direction or a goal in mind, because it was sandbox mode and you just had everything available to you. The second one was I could not grok how to dock. I was able to dock some stuff in orbit when the orbits just happened to turn out right, but when things were in awkward positions to each other, I had no idea what to do. I've now watched enough videos of people like Pixel Stash, Kurt J. Mac, and Scott Manley that I'm pretty certain I've got that sorted. The third minor reason is the mods I was using to allow things like docking were very unstable, and the game would just keep crashing. So, what have we got here? I'm still using some mods, because I wanted something a little more interesting than the stock game. But I've not gone overboard. The main differences are, I have a mod in called Kethane, which will allow us to scan for, mine, process a gas called Kethane, which allows us to refuel ships while on other planets. So that's good. I am using a mod called Interstellar. Now what Interstellar does is it adds future tech. You can essentially research your way up the tech tree, and yes, we're still doing the science thing, but you can research your way beyond modern rocketry. You can get to having fusion reactors, antimatter reactors, antimatter collection, and warp drives. So, that's a nice lofty goal to aim for there, is that, we are actually trying to get an interstellar thing. And if ever I get to the point where it's this save game file and we've got all the tech and we're able to just warp off wherever we want, then that will probably be, the goal of this season. What else do I have? I've got something called remote tech. Now, remote tech means that if you want to be able to control your unmanned probes or send information back to the Kerbal Space Center, you have to have satellite relays giving you line of sight and the range on the communitrons. You can't just send something to the far side of the solar system and have it just work. I'm hoping I can wrap my head around that one, because that just adds so much more to the game, because it gives you a reason to have communication satellites and communication relays. It gives you a reason to do more stuff in the game. So, as well as being able to do the off-planet mining, Interstellar requires you to scan for resources, so you can get together the powerful stuff you need in order to get the warp drives going. You can't just invent warp drives and build one and have it run. There's a whole infrastructure you need to build, which I looked a little bit into the mods, but not hugely. A lot of this is going to be a learning experience. As we research stuff, as we do science, we get science points. We can spend that on the tech tree. So as we get each new component, we can examine it and go on. The only other thing I'm going to say is I'm going to try and not record too much stuff in the vehicle assembly buildings. Once I've got a design, I'll probably show you it, and if we've just had a mission fail due to a design flaw, then we might be in there a bit trying to fix it, but most of the time we're just going to be flying stuff. So let's get started. We're going to start a new save game, player name. We're on career mode. We're going to choose a different flag. I've got my own little flag here. It's a little dragon. It's just an old symbol associated with the name Ayaron that I've used in the past and I quite like the look of. So in career mode, okay, it says here you have to manage all aspects of your space program. Currently it's just the science. So let me start. Okay, first thing we've got to do is, because I'm using mods, we need to select the KSP Interstellar Tech Tree. Load. So here we are at Kerbal Space Program. Looking all very good and flash and a lot better than it ever was before. I mean, we can rotate this view. Another mod I'm using is one that adds clouds to the sky, so it makes Kerbin just look so much more real. This is cool. I want to turn on some anti-aliasing. I'm getting a little bit jaggedy here. I'm actually running the game at 720p, which is what I'm recording in. So, these new buildings. So that's the vehicle assembly building, and that's the spaceplane hangar, which we had before. We have the astronaut complex, where we can have people and make them available and so on. So it'll show you people assigned currently on spaceships and people who are lost. Can we get more than just these guys? So basically, you know, I've just recruited everyone. Excuse me. I've just recruited everyone, and it's like, what if they all die? There's probably a file, a configuration file. So one thing I can maybe do is put people's names in the game, and I can actually fly you. And basically, you know, you'll have an astronaut. And if you die, then, you know, we can get, you know, Madman the Second, or, you know, Aqua Sharky Boy Junior, that sort of thing. So, you know, maybe if you want that, you know, I can stick you in. I cannot guarantee you'll survive. It's a dangerous job being an astronaut. So that was the astronaut complex. This is mission control. It doesn't do anything at the moment. We've got this thing, which is the thing we had before. So this lets you track all the current missions you've got going and so on. So yeah, so that's the position of Kerbal Space Center. You can see here that we've got a Kethane scan map, and I can turn on the grid overlay. So once we get the technology up there, we can scan for the presence of Kethane on our planet, or on the moon, or anywhere else. It's got arrows there as if there are other resources, but, you know, they aren't really available. As I said, look how gorgeous Kerbin looks with these clouds. The other thing this mod does is it adds the lights to the night side of the planet. So you can sort of imagine, you know, that there's underground dwellings and stuff. Amazing. Yes, so that's this one. I don't know what all these things do. I seem to be able to turn stuff on and off. I think it's something to do with the satellites. So, and go back, and the last building, come on, frame rate dropping, the last building is, here we have science. Science archives. This is where any research we have done in the various places, we can review it and check it. And this is the actual tech tree. So you see we've got 0 science. This is what we start with. Okay. We've got these 3 components are part of the Kerbal Engineer flight system stuff that will provide me with the weight of the vehicles and the Delta Vs and all that sort of stuff. We've got a normal command pod, just a one-man command pod. We have a liquid-fueled engine. It's not a very powerful one either. 215. Okay, 215 isn't bad. Reasonably efficient. We've got a solid fuel booster, we have a fuel tank, we have a modular girder segment, we have a communitron. Now you use the communitron, as I said, for controlling your remote tech, but also for sending back crew reports and science experiments remotely back to Kerbal Space Center. So this thing has a range of 2.5 million meters, which is pretty good. Kerbylon 16 is a versatile and lightweight antenna. Yes, and this is I believe this is an omnidirectional one, so basically it points in all directions at once. We have a single parachute, and then we've got these three things, which I think are to do with either the Kethane mod or the Interstellar mod. Basically, we have a lithium tank, we have an ammonia storage tank, and a water storage tank. They aren't going to be any real use to us at the moment, and that's all we've got to start with. So this is the first thing available to us. Basic rocketry. How hard can rocket science be anyway? This will give us a larger fuel tank, a smaller fuel tank, mystery goo containment unit. Found lying by the side of the road. This unit was something one of our engineers came upon while dumpster diving, while researching alternative applications for existing technologies. It's a sealed container which appears to be filled with a strange looking substance. We couldn't reach in or break the canister open, but watching how the goo behaves when subjected to different situations could be very educational. Essentially, this is the first scientific instrument we get. And we have a stack decoupler, so we don't even have... So this is the stuff we're working towards. That's going to cost us 5 science points in order to get that. So how do we get science? Well, I'm just going to sort of give you a very basic introduction to this, because I know some of you maybe have not watched any other videos of Kerbal Space Program. If you have and you know all this, I apologise. I'll try and make it as quick as possible. So, how do we do science? Well, we get a craft. We make sure someone's on board, and we launch it. This is very, very, very basic. There we go. So, let me just clean up this display a bit. This is the Kerbal alarm clock. This allows me to set, well, alarms for waypoints, so I can have multiple missions flying at once. You see this red there? That means we do not have an antenna communicating back to Kerbal Space Center. So even though we're right there, I mean, you know, he could lean his head out and shout, we can't remotely send anything back at the moment. So what we can do is, let me just get rid of that. Crew report. We can do a crew report. Incidentally, I'm using a mod for the crew reports which adds hundreds of new text, so you don't keep reading the same thing over again. So, you ponder the mysteries of the universe over your space snacks. There we go. Data size is 5 MITs. If I recover that piece, this piece of science, I will get 1.5 science. If I transmit it, I will also get 1.5 science. So you can see here that if I transmit it, I would get 100%. But of course, no comms device. Review crew report. So that's it. So that has earned me 1.5 science. Not much. So we'll keep that data. Now the other thing we're going to do is where's his portrait? I should have a little portrait here of you know, there should be like a little picture down there of Jebediah, so I can tell him to get out, an EVA. Oh, meant to rotate the camera, rotated the capsule instead. Right, okay. This could be a slight bug because of the mods I'm using. Excuse me while I sort this out. Okay, I'm still not sure why those why the portrait isn't showing up, but I discovered that in order that I can get the crew out of there by left-clicking the crew hatch. So if I go EVA, there we go. Here's Jeb. He's getting out. So tell him to let go, turn around, and he can do stuff out here as well. I mean, obviously he could plant a flag, but I don't want him to. But I can take an EVA report. I don't think a spacesuit was entirely necessary to get here, was it? No, but we're just learning, so that's another 2.4 science, so we'll keep that one. And we'll take a surface sample, so basically we're doing science. The surface is charred and coated with burnt rocket propellant. There are also trace amounts of a conspicuous green substance. Now here's an example of this thing is worth 9 science, but it's only worth 2.3 if I transmit it. So, you know, this is the sort of thing where if I actually recover the surface sample by getting it back to Kerbin, I get more science from it. So we'll keep that data too, and you can get back in. Grab and board. Okay, there's something weird going on here, isn't there? Well, we're going to recover this vessel. That isn't working either. Eep, 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 eep. I'm wondering if it's the resolution I'm running at. Maybe it just doesn't like running at 720p. Let me try. No, it seems to think I'm still on the ladder when I'm not. Cannot board a full module. What? Okay, there's definitely a glitch going on here, because the game seems to think... Hello. Right, that is Jebediah Kerman. Switch active vehicles. Okay, it seems that Jebediah Kerman has put a few, has cloned himself. Well, you know, we know that Kerbals use clones, but you know, this is a little ridiculous. How many of them can we get, I wonder? Okay, now it's empty. Okay, so we seem to just have one too many Jebediah Kermans. Okay. So this one has gone back to the barracks. And now we'll take control of this Jeb. That's a great start, isn't it? Bugs and glitches. Okay, can you actually get back on? Grab. And board. And it's the same problem we had last time. Okay, I've just recovered this vessel, so at least we'll get the science for it. Okay, we get a crew report from Launchpad, surface sample from Launchpad, and an EVA report from Launchpad, and that gives us a total of 12.9 science, which for the purposes of spending gets rounded down to 12. So we can click done on that, and we've got to recover Jebediah as well. But for some reason, it's not giving me the option to recover him. Come on, recover. I've just got to get this last clone off the launch pad, and then I can try and investigate a little more fully what's going wrong with this game. Alright, go to Jebediah Kerman on launch pad. Oh no! He doesn't look healthy at all. What the? Right, I think we might have to, I think he needs to sort of go to hospital or something, because he does not look well. He does not look well at all. Okay, I'm going to mess around now and see whether or not I can work out what's causing that glitch. Okay, I've been fiddling and faffing and investigating and so on for about the past 2 hours. I think the problem was too much memory. Turns out that, the more mods you add, the more memory it uses up, and because there isn't a stable 64-bit version of the Unity engine, which is what this game actually runs under, there is a limit that Kerbal Space Program cannot use more than 4 GB of RAM, and it gets very unhappy if it's using 3.5 GB of RAM. So, what I primarily did is I had to get rid of the visual enhancements. So I hope you liked the pretty clouds, because they're gone. Also tweaked a few other things and so on. But it means we are back to where we were. We have our 12 science. so we will spend it on this stuff. You know, we'll get a slightly better fuel tank, we'll get a stack decoupler, and we'll get a mystery goo containment thing. So let's research that, and you can see that basically this tree expands out as we go. So, you know, now we have survivability with some parachutes, we have stability, which gives us an aerodynamic nose cone, a radial decoupler and winglets, and so on. So, but let's go to and make ourselves a very simple rocket, and this will have to be the end of this episode because I am rather tired now. Not good at all. Okay, so here we've got our basic thing. That thing on the back, that's the flight engineer, which, as you can see, during building it gives me information as to the mass and stuff of my current ship. So, now we have mystery goo containment. We are going to want to bring some of that, and I want it to balance, so I'm going to bring 2. So I'm going to do that. What's that say on there? Jettison. Downward. So this is the stuff which will let us do science and get more science points and so on. So it's very important. Communitron, do I want to be able to transmit? I think I will have a Communitron because now Communitron requires electricity. I think I can just get away with the 1 because they don't really have much drag. Drag 0.2? That might send me slightly off course. Can I put it at the top and then put a parachute over it? Or maybe a better idea is put the parachute on. Oops, okay. These things need to be moved. I know I said I wasn't going to show you any design, and this is probably the only time you will see me actually building a spaceship. So we're going to move those a little lower, but make sure that they're still higher than the bottom. Get our parachute to fit on, and then we'll stick our Communitron in the centre there. We can just put it right at the centre. I don't think it will interfere with the parachute deploying. That might be something we want to test. We're Kerbals, we don't test stuff. Not at this stage, anyway. Okay, parachute. So, one of the things I want to do is action groups. Just move down a little bit. Action groups. So, custom action group 1. Mystery goo. Observe the mystery goo. So when I press 1 on the keyboard, we'll do an observe mystery goo. I think it might be worth to be able to do crew reports, because crew reports is the thing that that I can do quickly while flying. And the Communitron. Okay, I wanted to be able to transmit data, actually. I thought the Communitron would have an option to do that, but it doesn't. It has toggle activate and deactivate. If I tell you to start deployed, see it grows out. This is stuff you can do now, is you can actually tweak things and make these decisions while you're in the assembly building. Nope, looks like I do not have the option to go away. Right, so we've got crew reports on a button 2 and mystery goo on button 1. That'll do. I've changed my mind about this thing starting to... Okay, I want to start that retracted. Now, when you transmit information, it uses up electricity. And because I don't have solar panels or batteries at the moment, the only place this thing is going to get any electricity from is from its engines. Basically, engines will produce electricity when they're running. Alright, I need a separate decoupler. And we're just going to go with a single stage rocket. So we'll just go with a nice large fuel tank. 1, 2. Can I grab that engine? Right, so you can see here that I've got delta V. That's like how much overall thrust I've got. It's a bit more complex than that, but 3000 is actually pretty good with a total burn time of a minute. If I add another one of these fuel tanks, what do I get? 3.7 with a burn time of 1 minute 40. I like that. Okay. This might not get us into orbit, but it will get us a fair distance. Okay, who's going to fly it? We did get Jeb back, so we'll send him up for now. What have I forgotten? What have I forgotten? Staging's fairly simple. What did I set my custom my thingamies to? Actually, I think down there's the better place for you to live. You can live there. Okay. Observe the mystery goo crew report. Now you get science for if you keep repeating exactly the same experiment, you get less and less science for it. But if you do it in different locations, you get the points again. So this will be I have no idea what sort of naming scheme to put on my ship, so this is just going to be Ship 1. There we go, nice and simple. Let's go to the launch pad. In the other window I've got my memory usage and it's up to 2.7 gig already. Okay, hopefully you won't fall over, and hopefully I will remember the keyboard controls. So we'll start at half throttle. Well, actually no, we'll resources. One of the things I can do is, well, we've already had a crew report from there. However, we are starting to wobble, so there we go. Let us get a crew report. You look out of the window and see a piece of your rocket fly off. It wasn't important anyways. Okay, and I can transmit that for full amount. And seeing as no comms detected. Is that because this thing activate? I'm going slow enough that it should be okay. It's not going to blow off. Crew report. No, review report and transmit. There we go. See, I've just transmitted that. Let us observe the mystery goo. The goo jiggles and wobbles as the craft flies. Ah, and if I transmit this, I never get to use it again. See, inoperable after transmitting. Basically, you have to reset it with a science lab. So I'm just going to keep that data. Keep the data, because we've got 2 lots of it. Let us close our communitron down. Right, and now let's concentrate on our flying. Let's accelerate a little bit. We want to get above 10,000 without pushing the g-forces too much. About 2g is a good speed to get up to your 10,000 mark. Okay, 9,000 meters, so we're at 9 kilometers and we've burnt a little over half our fuel. So now I'll start a gravity turn. Oops. And we should start to accelerate quite nicely as we get into the thinner air. You see, our apoapsis is shooting up now. It's at 30,000. So I'm just going to keep burning the fuel, keep slowly tipping over. Jebediah Kerman is well happy. I might take another crew report. Let's see if I can do that. Let's take another crew report. You ponder the mysteries of the universe over your space snacks. We'll just keep that data. Actually, let's see if we can quickly transmit it. Let's see. Activate. Come on. Review crew report. No, review crew report and transmit. See, that used nearly all of my power now, so I'm going to turn off SAS because that's draining electricity. Actually, this comms device is draining electricity, so let's deactivate that. Well, we still have some electricity left. Oh, wow. Our apoapsis height is 188. I was so busy doing that crew report that I forgot to pay any attention to how high we were going. If I'd have eased off the fuel, I might have been able to make that a little more circular. But this is our first flight, so we've made it to space, which is pretty cool. I'm wondering whether I should get a crew report and an EVA report here from space. Let me just stop that rotation. See that that's burning my electricity. There we go. So, because we transmitted that last crew report, I can get another one. We don't have the electricity to transmit it. Planet Kerbylon is blue, and there's nothing I can do. Keep data. Now we're going to go for an EVA here, and hopefully he won't fall off the ladder. So I'm just going to hang on to that ladder, and he's going to get an EVA report. Whee! Keep that data, and let's get back on board. I know I've got a little jetpack and so on, but I've never been that good at the jetpacks. So we're going to point ourselves... Of course, this is all using electricity, and I'm about to run out. So let's stage. That will shoot that off ahead, and we're doing that while we're still heading up, I think. Yeah. So that will be way away from us by the time everything starts to fall back to the planet. So do I have a time to apoapsis on this thing? No. Oh yes, I do. Time to apoapsis. We are going to be going up for 9 minutes still. So let's actually speed things up a bit. Cannot warp, or the ship is throttled up. Well, let's get rid of the throttling then. This capsule is almost completely out of power. Now, of course, the reaction wheels, the things that make it rotate, that uses electricity. So once you run out of electricity, you really are just floating, a floating lump of space. There we go, we're on our way back down again. I did not install deadly re-entry because I thought that would just make things too difficult for me. Right, so we are heading down at quite a speed. I'll wait till we've slowed down a bit, and then I'll pop this chute, which hopefully will work, even though there is a communitron on the other side of it. If you notice how this thing here has gone yellow, and I think that's because we are no longer within line of sight of Kerbal Space Program. Kerbal Space Program of there. Essentially, the horizon is in the way. So if this was an unmanned probe, we wouldn't be able to control it at all anymore. There we go. Zooming through, slowing down. I'll pop the chute at about 5,000, because hopefully by then we'll have slowed down below the speed of sound. There we go, speed is dropping to 300 meters per second. And we'll pop the chute. Hey, an Arcanutron just floats there. And there we go, our first flight. The only thing I'll do is when I get down is I'm going to get out and take a surface sample. I don't want to take another crew report. Actually, I think I can do another EVA report because I think EVA reports get stored in the pod every time you get back in. Okay, so that's popped. Don't show this again. Yes, I know that warping can be a problem. I'm watching. I'm going to slow the time warp down just before we hit the water. Because the way it does the the physical time warping is it essentially just increases all the forces. It increases gravity, it increases your speed for the sake of the calculations, but that does mean it also, I think, increases the impact when you hit stuff. So, he's about to get down. Splash down, and pods have survived. Okay, can we rotate our craft? No. Nope, he's going to have to swim. Well, that's okay. Alright, let's do an EVA. Come on, come on, swim to the surface. Well done, well done. Right, and we want a surface sample. You seem to have captured a small crustacean. Mission Control is less than impressed. We'll keep that data and do an EVA report. You think you see a shark swimming in the water. Wait, no, that's just a landing leg. They're a bit random and they don't always match what's going on. So I'm not sure I'll be able to actually get back in. I'll try swimming around from the other side a bit. Maybe I can push it to the point that I can grab it. No, we're going to have to recover these separately. Okay, so recover vessel. This will actually be recovering Jebediah Kerman. Surface sample from Kerbin's water, 12 science. EVA report from Kerbin's water, 3.2 science. Then we pop here to our tracking station, and we can get ship 1. Recover. Crew report while in space near Kerbin, 5 science. EVA report from space just above Kerbin's water, 8 science. Mystery goo observation, 7 science for the first one. For the second one, I only get 1.6. You can see that's a real big drop off there. I only put 2 on because that way it balances the vessel. And I get a little extra science, but it shows that if you just keep sitting in one place doing the same experiment over and over again, you don't get that much. And recovery of a vessel after a suborbital flight, 8 science. Excellent. We've got 59 science. We earned 29.6 science on this mission. That is cool. In fact, we earned more than that because Jebediah Kerman himself had surface samples and stuff. So we will pop here and we will spend our hard-earned science. Now this is a nice low-thrust engine, but it's more efficient in a vacuum. The 909 model was initially received with some skepticism, as it defied the long-standing convention of more power is always better. Despite this, the 909 series has found its place in spacecraft construction, being particularly useful as a final stage and landing engine. Yes, I think it's a lot lighter. So, landing legs and radial parachutes. Nose cone, winglets, and radial. Radial decouplers are also very useful. Can I get all 3 of these things? That's 20. That would be 38. 38 plus 15 is 55. We can get all 3. So we will research survivability, the art and science of landing and walking away from it. Stability. Reaching for the stars starts with keeping your spacecraft pointed generally in the right direction. And last of all, general rocketry. More engines, more fuel, more ambitious ideas. This will get us another engine, sort of a medium power one, which is quite good. Separatron, which is good for when those large spaceships come apart without smashing into themselves. And the large solid fuel booster. Nice. So there we go. And this is what we're shooting for next. And that's what this series will be. Is in the next episode, I will already have designed my next mission. I'm not sure whether I want to go for some landers around Kerbin to do some basic research here on the ground before we get up and make a full orbit. So what we might do is have some form of suborbital craft which can land with the landing legs and parachutes in various areas and terrains on Kerbin, and just do experiments with the goo and stuff. You know, I think there's about 8 or 9 different things. It's like there's the ocean, which we took a surface sample from. There's grasslands, there's mountains, there's the Arctic, there's tundra. There's desert. So there's all sorts of places. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.